So I doubt I'm going to cover every episode by any means, but I just wanted to kind of give my first impressions of American Horror Stories, which I checked out 2 nights ago, I want to say. We watched the first 2 episodes, which is a two-parter called Rubber Woman. Rubber Woman. And, okay, this is what I want to say. When I saw that they were making American Horror Stories, I got very excited because I find that American Horror Story always has a really great intro lead up and always kind of, not always, but mostly always fails in its ending. That it just starts to wear thin, and by the end, they try to always one up themselves, and things run for too long and too fast, and you're like, by that point, the story has just gotten so ridiculous, and I've lost a lot of interest in the show. This hasn't happened in absolutely every season. I loved all of Hotel, but it can happen in a good amount of the seasons. So when I saw that they were doing this, that this was an anthology show where every episode was going to be a self-contained story, that made me very excited because I was like, oh, awesome. These guys are great for the first few episodes, so they start really strong. So if these guys can condense their stories into 45-minute contained stories, this could be kick-ass. But what do they do with their first 2 episodes? Instead of taking this idea, getting creative and original with it, they just go back to the well and make 2 episodes based around an already established story that we've already revisited multiple times throughout the seasons. Here we are yet again, back to the beginning at Murder House. We're back. This whole fucking 2-episode opener is taking place in the Murder House. That is fairly annoying to me. Did I like the episodes? Yes, I did. I liked the first episode more than the second episode. I definitely think a lot of what they set up in the first episode doesn't pay off all that well in the second episode, and that's for a few different reasons. I do want to admit, and I do want to say that a good reason of why I liked this is because the main girl, the rubber woman, the girl who moves into the house with her gay fathers, I just thought was adorably attractive. So I am a little biased because I definitely really enjoyed watching her. So I'm gonna be upfront about that. That being said, I still did like what they set up in the first episode. I was pretty into it. I actually ended the episode and Kaylee asked me, like, how did you feel? And I was like, I liked it. I liked it a lot. I actually kind of thought it was great. Even though I'm not happy they went back to the murder house, I think what they're setting up here with this girl who isn't really in touch with her sexuality yet and doesn't have a lot of confidence, and she has a crush on this girl at school, and she's in a new place and she doesn't really know where she fits in, and then she's kind of being entranced by this stuff in the murder house, the rubber suit, and then we find out about her past and her tendencies to lean more into the S&M and even harder stuff than that. I was like, okay, this is intriguing. And then in the second episode, they all of a sudden throw in this random love interest that came out of absolutely fucking nowhere. And it was like an immediate, like, oh, we're supposed to buy that they're crazy about each other. And I was like, who is this girl? What is happening? What? This was not established, like, at all. And now it's just here. And it's like, accept me. That I completely missed, if there was any of it in the first episode. So when we put on the episode, I looked at Kaylee and I was like, who the fuck is this? She's like, I don't know. I'm like, what? What is happening? What a weird transition to the second episode. Like, why wasn't this really played on at all? in the first episode. And as I said, if it's in there, I completely missed it. I was so focused on her dad's and her relationship with this girl in school and her friend and her stuff, her psychologist and all the stuff at the murder house. I missed this girl completely. If she was in there, I don't think she had any interactions with this main girl. So I was so thrown off by that. And it felt completely like thrown into the story all of a sudden out of nowhere. And it's like, why wasn't this girl in the other episode? What am I missing here? So anyways, but yeah, there's not really any character growth. This is something Kaylee pointed out to me that I agreed with her on after I thought about it. There really is no character growth out of the main character, this little cute girl in the S&M costume. She kind of starts one way and ends the same way. She really doesn't escalate as a character. We don't really get much out of her. And then there really is, I don't know, there's no repercussions for anything either. It's kind of like, we all did this. Oh, well, like that's accepted and moving on. It's kind of like there's no repercussions for your actions. Like none at all, which is kind of silly. And there's conveniences with characters, willing to be in on things all of a sudden out of nowhere. But I guess this house kind of, I don't know, gets people to be different than they maybe normally would be. I don't know. But everyone seems to not be that upset that they're dead in the end. Which is kind of fucking ridiculous to me. But maybe the house like convinces you. Or, I don't know. Overall, the first episode I was into, admittedly for bias reasons, but I did like the setup. I didn't like the second half of it as much. Kind of left me feeling like, wow, okay, that didn't really amount to much. But I didn't hate it. And I think this show's getting a lot of hate. I can understand to a degree why. I haven't watched the other episodes. I really do hope that in episode 3 and now 4, I think 3 and 4 are out at this point. I'll watch them maybe tonight. I'm hoping that they steer away from anything they've done before in the past. I want to see completely new stories detached from anything in American Horror Story. Just make cool, self-contained, original horror. Like, that's what you're supposed to do here. That's what I want to watch this show for. If the next episode takes place in the asylum or fucking the Coven or Freak Show or the hotel or any of those settings, I'm going to be annoyed. Now, if they're great episodes, fine. I'll get over it. But they should take this opportunity to make original stories. This is their opportunity to come up with some really creative, cool ideas and be able to knock them out in a short period of time, because their weakness is length. So, anyways, I'm not impressed with it, but I don't hate it. I'm just kind of blah on it at the moment, and I hope that it gets better. I know how people can be, though. Like, if the first couple episodes suck, they just want to hate on the whole rest of the show. So you'll see a lot of, like, downgrades or thumbs down on a lot of episodes from there. So I don't really take those other episodes that I'm seeing getting lower grades seriously until I watch them. And if they both are underwhelming like this second episode was, then I'll definitely be bummed. But for now, it's not winning me over yet, but hopefully it does. We'll see. Adios.